What's going on YouTube? Ryan, Alex back, Dopemon again. Today we are going to discuss something we've been talking about for a couple days, just between us, is the idea that Carey Price could be traded out of Montreal, either this year or in the coming years, and to specifically the Colorado Avalanche. Now, we don't know necessarily whether this will actually happen. Carey Price's contract is a crazy one, and it will be very difficult to move, but
Hmm.
Jack Eichel was just traded and he was injured with a crazy contract, so you never know.
And we've also heard him tied to the Oilers as well as Colorado. So we're going to discuss a few potential trades. We've been looking at the cap friendly Armchair GM. Just seeing what people are doing and seeing how the hype around Carey Price being moved and what people think he's worth. And these are the two big names we feel like that have been out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're using the Armchair GM function, like I said, or like Alex said, and yeah, there's a couple things that a couple avenues for this. There's one where Carey Price is retained, and one where he isn't. The more likely, I think, is he has to be retained, right?
I think even maybe he's retained twice. Like he
Yeah,
gets moved to a team that gets a piece who retains him again, so the team who actually gets him can have like half
yeah,
a quarter of the salary paying him.
yeah. And for example, this one here, here's Carey Price and Toffoli, so another piece for Gerard, Francouz, and Comfer. I've seen Gerard in a lot of them. Uh, as a good puck moving young defenseman for Carey Price, and I know Avalanche fans don't. I know a lot of them don't want this trade because Carey
Hmm.
Price's contract is huge. But if you can get Montreal to retain half of it, and you have Carey Price at 5.25 million, why not? Right? You have to give up a better piece or better defenseman to get a guy like Price. Makes Colorado an instant cup favorite, does it not?
Hmm. For sure. Yeah, no, that's barring, of course, their cap concerns, they'd be the best team in the NHL on paper.
Yeah. Another trade here. Guy I've seen is Alex Newhook be a player. Now Colorado has a lot of good prospects, a lot of guys. I don't think they're gonna get both Newhook and Gerard in a potential trade in Montreal, but one of the two as the primary prospect going back, I think is possible, right?
I mean, especially if they're not going to retain Carey Price, because when we look at how much goaltenders are making, they're making more than $5.25 million to be a starter. To get Carey Price at that amount, like you have to, as much as goalies usually don't get the return you expect, to get Carey Price at that half would be, I think you need to give up a lot more. And if you're not going to retain him, like in this case, you can't be giving up two huge prospects like both Newhook and Gerard. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think they get both. And Habs fans, I apologize for giving you flashbacks of Patrick Watt of Colorado, but this is the biggest, would be one of the biggest trades probably since then for a goaltender in my mind. Yeah, it would be an incredible thing if Montreal ends up trading Carey Price. Here's another one where it's Gerard and Francouz, and that's it.
Mhm.
But they say Montreal retains half here, whoever this user is. I just didn't know that they could actually do that in Armchair GM, but whatever. Um, yeah, but most likely a prospect, a goaltender going back to Montreal, so either Francouz or Kemper, depending on how they
Mhm.
want to handle money. And yeah, there's another one. This is half retained for Kemper, McDermott, Newhook, and a third. So like
I like this one.
I like this one too. This is probably the one I like out of the Armchair GMs to Colorado that we've looked at over the last little bit. And Colorado, if we can see our faces are in the way, but just sneaks under the salary cap with this lineup with two extra defensemen and with Stefan Matteau on LTIR. But yeah, this Kemper going back just to offset money, New Hook, a piece and a pick maybe. Like that's kind of what we're looking at. Another trade to Colorado.
This one with only 1.5 million retained.
Yeah, there's only $1.5 million retained. I don't know whether Montreal, like, can they retain half on 4 years, which is what Carey Price has left in his deal, including this one.
And can they afford it on their cap?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
they're gonna pay him anyway, so they'd probably have to, because like he'd be on the books if they didn't. But like where they're going, I mean, every team is gonna have a cap trouble if you pay a guy $10 million. So
Yeah, depends where Montreal is going to go, I guess, with rebuild or whatnot. If how aggressively
mhm.
they're going to go at it, whether Price wants to stay in Colorado or Montreal in a rebuild situation, or he wants to be
Mhm.
traded. So there's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of these, yeah, have been like a tearing it down, rebuild, retool kind of trades. A lot of them are like, who we've seen where Carey Price is just one of like 4 or 5 trades that Montreal makes just to like clear the house a little bit. We've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other team, like you said, we're gonna brush on real quick is Edmonton. Edmonton is another team that could. Oh, there's another Carey Price to Colorado one.
Yeah. Oops.
That's fine. I jumped too early. Anyway, Edmonton. This trade right here. Edmonton's another team contending. Could use a goaltender, obviously, with Koskinen and Smith not really being the guys. If Edmonton gets their hands on Montreal or on Carey Price through Montreal, would be incredible as well. And I think the cost would remain the same. It's 50% a prospect, a goalie to figure out money and goaltending, and maybe picks. And this is what this
Hmm.
user has put there as well. Xavier Bourgault just made the Canadian national junior team.
Hmm. Though I don't think that Lekkonen's a guy that Edmonton would want so much, but I do like the idea behind this trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Xavier Bourgault is a guy that Montreal could be going after too because he's French,
Hmm.
French
Hmm.
Canadian. Obviously, is a big part of that culture in Montreal. And just one more trade for Edmonton. This one I like less than the other one because they have multiple players going back and prospects and weird amounts of salary retained. They have only 3.5. Yamamoto, Koskinen, Clefbaum, and Holloway. Clefbaum I don't think will ever play again, so I guess they're moving him
Hmm.
just for salary in this case. Um,
And I think a huge
Yamamoto.
part of the trade could be about salary.
Oh
That
yeah,
there's going to be a piece or two that's just exclusively here's money needs to go one way, because that's just, when you're moving $11.5 million, some money is going to have to go back the other way, and some kind of, or a third team is going to have to take some money and also get a piece prospect for it.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting if this will happen at some point in the future. I don't know if Carey Price is gonna stay with the Habs forever, especially
Hmm.
through a rebuild. But yeah,
Do
anything
you have
else?
any predictions? Do you want to give a your prediction on what's going to happen here? I'm going to give mine. I feel like just given the situation that he's going through right now with the mental health department, that he won't be traded. He's going to stick with the team. I do think that like he might be frustrated with where the team's at right now, but willing to hold on just until he gets back into the game. Plays a little bit, plays with the team, and then says, "I don't want to be here." It doesn't just say, "I don't want to be here" before he gets back. That's just what I think.
I agree with
What
you
about
100%. I think that Carey Price won't get traded this year,
you?
but
Hmm.
next year and the year after, when that contract starts to be a little nicer, from the years perspective, like if there's 1 or 2 more years left or 3 years left on that deal, and Montreal still retains, I think they can retain on a 2-year deal, depending on where they are in their rebuild or whatnot, get some assets for them. And it all depends on Carey Price. And if 2 years from now Carey Price isn't Carey Price anymore, he's not going to get traded. He's going to be
Hmm.
unmovable. He's going to be, Henrik Lundqvist at the end of his career is going to kind of fizzle out almost to a backup role and then maybe retire as a Hap. But if Carey Price is Carey Price through the playoffs again or through the regular season when he comes back, if Montreal ever makes the playoffs again with Carey Price, if he's, the goalie that he has been in the playoffs the last couple of years, if he plays for Team Canada at the Olympics, that'll bump him up obviously if he has a huge showing there. A lot of question marks. A lot of
Hmm.
question marks
Hmm.
when it comes to this trade or potential trade.
And
Let us
that's why we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept, and the fact that Patrick Waugh, the history of Patrick Waugh moving to Colorado, and just the flashback of Montreal moving their biggest goaltender to Colorado is kind of funny and worth discussing. Let us know what you think if you watch this video. If you got this far, thank you so much. Leave a like on the video. Let us know what you think in the comments. What your trade would be, if you would think this is even a remote possibility. Let us know if you're a Hab fan and Colorado Avalanche fan or Edmonton fan or any other team. What would you give up on your team for Carey Price? Now or in the future. Subscribe to the channel for more dope content. We got lots of stuff coming out over the month of December and January. Thanks so much. Peace.